Hey, Steelers Nation. We're back with an exclusive video packed with the latest updates on our beloved Pittsburgh Steelers. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. This way, you'll never miss any exclusive updates or exciting Steelers news. The NFL rumor mill absolutely exploded overnight. And if you're a Steelers fan, you might want to sit down for this one because the whispers coming out of Pittsburgh sound almost unreal. Word circulating among league insiders and locker room shadows suggest that the Steelers quietly pulled off one of the most shocking moves of the offseason by securing a surprise reinforcement at the quarterback position, with Jordan Love suddenly linked to the black and gold. Now, before anyone panics or celebrates too early, this is being treated strictly as speculation, the kind that starts with a few texts, a few raised eyebrows, and a lot of nervous laughter. But what makes this rumor so fascinating is the timing, the secrecy, and the immediate ripple effect it allegedly caused inside the organization. According to these murmurs, the front office saw a rare window of opportunity and did not hesitate, believing that Love represents untapped potential that could thrive in a new environment. The idea is not that he arrives as a savior, but as a bold statement that the Steelers are tired of playing it safe. This supposed move has already sparked intense debate among fans, analysts, and even former players because it suggests a philosophical shift, one that prioritizes upside and long-term imagination over comfort and tradition. In classic Steelers fashion, if true, this would be a move made quietly, decisively, and with full awareness of the chaos it would unleash once the story inevitably leaked. What adds even more fuel to this fire is the other half of the rumor, which might be even more controversial than the arrival of Jordan Love itself. Alongside this alleged signing, the Steelers are said to have made the cold-hearted decision to cut ties with a respected veteran, someone who carried weight in the locker room and symbolized stability during uncertain times. This is where the story turns emotional, because Pittsburgh is a city that values loyalty, grit, and legacy, and letting go of a veteran is never just a football decision. The speculation suggests that this cut was not about performance alone, but about clearing space, both financially and culturally, for something new. Insiders hint that the coaching staff felt the team needed a jolt, a shock to the system that would wake everyone up and reset internal hierarchies. The veteran in question, whose name remains deliberately vague in these rumors, is described as a professional, a leader, and someone who took the news with dignity, even if the decision caught many off guard. Fans are torn, with some arguing that you never abandon experience, while others believe that bold franchises must sometimes make painful choices. If this rumor holds any truth, it signals that the Steelers are no longer content with incremental change and are instead flirting with a full-blown identity recalibration. From a tactical standpoint, the idea of Jordan Love in a Steelers uniform opens up a fascinating set of possibilities that have people talking nonstop. The speculation paints a picture of a quarterback with physical tools that have yet to be fully unlocked, stepping into an organization known for structure, discipline, and defensive pride. The thought is that Pittsburgh could provide exactly the kind of environment where a player like Love might finally find consistency and confidence. Rumors suggest that coaches see him as a moldable piece, someone who could benefit from a simplified system early on, gradually expanding his responsibilities as trust grows. This is not being framed as an instant takeover, but rather as a competitive situation designed to elevate everyone involved. The Steelers have always thrived when competition is fierce and egos are checked at the door, and Love's arrival would embody that philosophy. Of course, skeptics argue that this is a gamble, pointing out that potential does not always translate into production. But supporters of the move counter that stagnation is the real enemy, and that taking calculated risks is the only way to escape mediocrity. Whether brilliant or reckless, the rumor alone has already succeeded in one thing: making the Steelers the center of the football conversation once again. Another layer to this story that keeps resurfacing is the internal reaction within the locker room, which, according to whispers, has been mixed but intense. Some players are said to be energized by the possibility of new blood, viewing it as a sign that management believes the current roster is close and just needs the right spark. Others, however, are reportedly uneasy, especially those who had strong bonds with the veteran who was allegedly cut. Change, even when necessary, can fracture trust if not handled carefully, and this is where the Steelers' leadership will be tested. The rumor suggests that team captains have already stepped up, holding closed-door meetings to address concerns and refocus the group. There is talk of a clear message being delivered. No one's job is guaranteed, but everyone's effort will be rewarded. This kind of environment can either forge a stronger unit or expose cracks that were previously hidden. The arrival of Jordan Love, if real, would not just be about his arm or athleticism, but about how he navigates a proud, demanding locker room that expects accountability above all else. The Steelers have always sold themselves as a family, and families sometimes have uncomfortable conversations when the future is at stake. Financially, the rumor becomes even more intriguing because it hints at a series of chess moves behind the scenes that only a few executives truly understand. Cutting a veteran, especially one with a significant contract, would instantly free up resources, making the alleged acquisition of Jordan Love more plausible. Speculation suggests that the front office has been quietly planning for flexibility, restructuring deals, and keeping options open precisely for a moment like this. This is not being portrayed as a desperate act, but as a calculated maneuver rooted in long-term vision. The Steelers have a reputation for patience, sometimes to a fault, so the idea that they would suddenly pivot so aggressively has people wondering what they see that others do not. Some believe this is about aligning timelines, ensuring that the core of the team peaks together rather than aging out in mismatched phases. Others think it reflects a growing sense of urgency, an acknowledgement that standing still in a rapidly evolving league is the same as falling behind. Either way, the financial implications of this rumor suggest a front office that is willing to absorb short-term criticism for the sake of future stability. As this rumor continues to spread, the fan reaction has become a story of its own, echoing through social media, sports radio, and late-night debates. Some fans are thrilled by the audacity of it all, praising the Steelers for finally swinging big instead of settling for safe, predictable decisions. Others feel betrayed, especially if they believe a loyal veteran was pushed aside too quickly. What unites both sides is a shared sense of disbelief, because this is not the kind of move Pittsburgh is traditionally known for. The idea of Jordan Love wearing black and gold feels almost surreal, like an alternate reality that challenges decades of organizational identity. Yet, that is precisely why the rumor refuses to die. It taps into a deeper question about what the Steelers want to be in the modern era of football. Are they content to rely on history and stability, or are they ready to redefine themselves through bold, uncomfortable choices? Until there is clarity, this speculation will continue to dominate conversations, keeping fans glued to every update, every hint, and every carefully worded non-denial from the team. As the speculation grows louder, another fascinating angle begins to emerge, one that focuses less on the shock and more on the strategic psychology behind such a move. The rumors suggest that the Steelers might be playing a long game, using the buzz around Jordan Love as both a football decision and a cultural reset. By introducing a quarterback who arrives with questions, expectations, and something to prove, the team could be deliberately injecting hunger into a roster that some believe had grown too comfortable. This is not about disrespecting anyone who came before, but about creating an atmosphere where complacency simply cannot survive. According to the whispers, coaches see Love as someone who understands pressure, who has lived in the shadow of expectations, and who might actually thrive when given a fresh narrative. The Steelers have always valued mental toughness as much as physical ability, and this rumored signing aligns with that belief. It sends a message that the organization is willing to challenge its own assumptions, even if that means inviting controversy. In a league where innovation often separates contenders from pretenders, this kind of psychological gamble could either ignite a renaissance or backfire spectacularly, making it one of the most intriguing storylines imaginable. The alleged departure of the veteran adds emotional weight that cannot be ignored, and this is where the rumor shifts from exciting to unsettling. Veterans are often the bridge between coaching philosophy and player execution, the voices that translate expectations into daily habits. Cutting such a figure, even in theory, risks losing institutional knowledge that cannot be replaced overnight. However, the speculation frames this decision as a painful but necessary evolution, a recognition that leadership must sometimes change form to remain effective. Younger players, according to these murmurs, are being asked to step into bigger roles, to own the locker room rather than lean on familiar faces. This kind of transition can be messy, filled with awkward moments and growing pains, but can also accelerate maturity. The Steelers, if these rumors are accurate, appear willing to endure that discomfort. The veteran's exit is described not as a dismissal of his value, but as an acknowledgement that every era eventually gives way to the next. For fans, this is the hardest part to accept because it forces a confrontation with the reality that loyalty in professional sports often has an expiration date, no matter how earned it may be. From a league-wide perspective, the idea of Jordan Love landing in Pittsburgh has quietly altered how other teams might view the Steelers. Rumors suggest that rival executives are paying close attention, not because they fear Love specifically, but because they sense a shift in philosophy. The Steelers have long been predictable in their approach, methodical and conservative, but this move would suggest a newfound willingness to disrupt their own narrative. That kind of unpredictability can be unsettling for opponents who are used to preparing for a familiar brand of football. If Love were to be integrated thoughtfully, combining his athletic traits with Pittsburgh's traditionally rugged identity, the result could be something genuinely new. Of course, there is also the risk that the fit never materializes, that the experiment collapses under the weight of expectations. But even that risk carries a certain respect in today's NFL, where standing pat is often criticized more harshly than failing while trying. This rumor, whether true or not, has already repositioned the Steelers as a team worth watching closely, a franchise that might finally be ready to challenge its own comfort zone. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The coaching staff's role in this rumored scenario cannot be overstated, and insiders suggest that their fingerprints are all over this idea. There's talk of long meetings, whiteboard sessions, and philosophical debates about what kind of quarterback best serves the future of the team. Jordan Love, in this narrative, represents a canvas rather than a finished portrait. Coaches allegedly believe that with patience and clarity, they can shape his decision-making and harness his physical gifts without overwhelming him. This requires alignment from top to bottom, from coordinators to position coaches, all speaking the same language. The Steelers are known for continuity, and this rumor implies that they intend to use that stability as a foundation for experimentation rather than as an excuse for stagnation. The cut veteran, meanwhile, is portrayed as collateral damage in a broader vision, a reminder that even respected voices can be overshadowed by evolving priorities. If true, this places enormous pressure on the coaching staff to justify the gamble through development, communication, and results that validate the disruption. Fan identity is another thread woven tightly into this story, because the Steelers' fan base is famously passionate and deeply connected to tradition. The rumor of Jordan Love's arrival challenges that tradition in subtle but significant ways. It asks fans to imagine a future that does not look or feel like the past, to embrace uncertainty instead of familiarity. Some supporters are already reframing the narrative, arguing that true tradition is not about clinging to old formulas, but about committing to excellence, however it must be achieved. Others remain skeptical, fearing that chasing potential could erode the very values that made the franchise great. This tension is playing out in conversations everywhere, turning a simple rumor into a referendum on what it means to be a Steelers fan. The alleged cutting of a veteran intensifies this debate because it personalizes the cost of change. It is one thing to talk about strategy in abstract terms, and another to see a respected figure potentially pushed aside. Yet that emotional friction is precisely what makes this rumor so powerful and so divisive. In the end, what makes this entire situation so captivating is not whether Jordan Love actually signs with the Steelers, but what the rumor reveals about the moment the franchise finds itself in. It suggests a crossroads, a time when safe choices may no longer be enough to satisfy internal ambition or external expectations. The Steelers, long defined by patience and restraint, are being painted as a team flirting with reinvention. The surprise reinforcement, the controversial cut, and the swirling speculation all point toward an organization wrestling with its own identity in a rapidly changing league. Whether this story proves to be smoke without fire or the first chapter of a bold new era, it has already achieved something remarkable. It has forced fans, analysts, and rivals to reconsider what they think they know about Pittsburgh. And in a league driven as much by perception as by performance, that alone can be a powerful catalyst for change. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.